Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the Angels in Politics broadcast, and I am your host, the creative and artistic manifestation of Angels in Politics. So, more so, I'm like your guiding light. Well, I'm not really enlightened at this moment, but I'm in the process of enlightenment, my own spiritual journey. So, I guess I will be your transient force, your intermediary, maybe your connecting piece to your own path of enlightenment. So you should be excited about that. I can honestly warn you, it will be a dark journey. It will be a dark path. It will be the road less traveled. If you've read that Robert Frost poem, I haven't. I think I have. It's just been a while. So yeah, first and foremost, have you had your dinner? Okay, good, good, good. I ate not too long ago, and there is a topic that I would like to get off or have a conversation with you about, and it's really interesting that I'm talking about this now because I would like these videos or I would like these conversations to, I guess, transcend time and not necessarily have a specific time period. Because reading, writing, speaking, spiritual alignment, aligning yourself with your purpose. That could be your personality, your passion, aligning your personality and passion with positioning yourself, pivoting yourself, opening yourself up to new experiences, and that will lead to your purpose. I already said manifestation, but all of these things, self-actualization at the end of the day, that's the end of the road. Creative investment, self-investment, self-development, falling in love with your own self-enhancement will lead to your self-actualization. But there are some issues that we internally, and I say we because I know, I mean, you can tell me yours, you can speak to me about yours. I mean, of course, you know that listening is my currency. Listening is how I will get paid. Spiritually, I mean, I'm getting paid in the spiritual markets right now, and somebody might say, "Well, Gabe, your political realm is gonna be like knocking on the door really soon because you have insurance to pay, you have bills to pay, you have expenses to pay, you have like right now I'm in the background. The backdrop is of my lovely home based on my parents doing, and sooner or later people are gonna be like, okay, you're a grown-ass man and you're doing a whole lot of conversation, but where's your money? Like, where's the capital? Where is your industry? And they would be right by that. They would be right by that. But I'm building a different type of world at this moment. So we have these struggles, we have these internal conflicts that prevent us from just simply rising up and rising to the top of that social dominance hierarchy or that Maslow's pyramid of needs. And we don't become self-actualized overnight. There's some people who never become self-actualized, meaning they never figure out their spiritual gifts, know what their spiritual gifts are, manifest them, and intertwine them or commingle them or immerse them with their meaningful relationships and their meaningful work. And you probably won't find meaningful work if you don't really know what your passions are and what your spiritual gifts are and what your purpose is, right? So that's not the topic right now. That's just like my introduction that I always have to do for those individuals who might be just like the first time hearing, like, what is this like Angels in Politics about? What is this philanthropy about? Why does this guy have so much to say about connecting with people? And you're talking about community building, you're talking about council, you're talking about the political circle, political connections, political collections, political council, political capital, political creative, whole lot of PC. There's a whole lot of PC, and I'm just gonna give you, that's just like the background of like what that means. But the topic today is social. All right, social. I had a friend of mine the other day, and it's like, actually, he's a really, really, really close fraternity brother, we would call him like a dean, so to speak, like the person who brings you in physically, emotionally, socially, psychologically, mentally. He pretty much was that facilitator into like my growth and development process whilst I was in university, and we've kept in contact, which is very important. That's what you're supposed to do. Life is about meaningful relationships, sustaining meaningful relationships, cultivating meaningful relationships, and establishing new ones. But he is a guy that I was speaking to the other day, and he was saying how like him, like other people, many other people have mentioned to me how they have to take a step back, step away, or completely shut down their social media because of the fact that it just hasn't been good for them. It hasn't been good for them spiritually, mentally. It hasn't been good for their bodies. And it manifests itself in the physical realm once you know that internally it's not resonating and it's not right, and you're not aligning with that energy that is coming off of your social platform or your social timeline. And I told him that social media itself isn't a negative thing. Actually, social media is probably one of our greatest connections, our greatest creations that, at least in my time of living, we're a millennial. That's what they call like people like me, I guess, born, I guess from 1980 through 2000, I guess would be millennials. So, in my realm, like social media has definitely been huge. But yeah, I can see why people like have this mindset, they have this mind frame, they have this perspective in which, yeah, it's really negative for them, and it's really bad for them, and it's harming them, and it's stymieing their growth, their creativity, their passions. Like nobody, or I will say very few people, want to be themselves on their social media handles or platforms based on what they've seen or based on what they're following. And I get it. But to the core, that's not the social media's fault. That's your fault. That's you. I remember a quote from Grant Cardone on his 10x rule, and I suggest that you read that book because Political Connections speaks about you are the sum of all your parts, everything that you interface with, anything that you've come across, everything that you've read, every person that you've met, anything that you've seen on TV. Like imagine that as being like data, and you are just a computer, and you've extracted all that and you've soaked all of that in like a sponge, and now what you spit out is based on what you've come into contact with. So within Political Connections, I say you are the books you read and the people you associate yourself with. And in the 10x book, he says things don't happen to you, things happen because of you, right? That's how you shift the mindset of taking ownership and taking accountability and being taking massive action is really like the underlying theme of that book. That's why you say 10x. It's like the reason why he's achieved his goals wasn't because he just had some genetic makeup, or he had some hereditary like advantage, or he was born into like a trust fund of $1 million or a couple of $1 million. It was like, no, like instead of making a phone call to see if he could manifest his dreams, he made 10 times the phone calls. Instead of knocking on the door, he knocked on 10 times the amount of doors of his competitors. And it's like you have to take extreme levels of action in order for you to get what you want out of life. And if you want opulence, if you want excellence, if you want to change the world, then that's not going to happen whilst you're sitting on your ass. So yeah, it's interesting because there are people who do feel that their social is bad, or their social media is bad, and their timeline is bad. But it's like, no, brother, this is you. This is your mindset. This is your perspective. This is your own doing. Why? Because you've accepted those friends that are on your timeline. You requested those friends that were on your timeline. You accepted those Instagram models that were on your timeline. You requested those Instagram models that was on your timeline. You accepted that person's advance in your direct message inbox or your inbox, and you promoted that. You acquiesced, you conceded, you replied, you retorted, you allowed that back and forth information to transpire. And talking to somebody via the inbox doesn't have to be a negative thing, because this could be your connection to making that political connection, getting your dreams manifested, you becoming self-actualized, you aligning yourself with your purpose. That can be what your social media is for. But it was you who spent their time, or spent your time looking at people whom you don't really know, or whom you don't really care about, or you've spent your time, you've spent your time looking and scrolling, and then being upset, saying, oh, wow, I didn't go on this yoga retreat in Bali, Indonesia. I'm not in, the deserts of, wherever. I'm not in the Sahara. I'm not hang gliding or paragliding or parasailing or doing some, eclectic, extravagant shit that I don't do normally, and which they probably don't do. They just put that picture up, and it's like there are so many people who have been in that mindset whereby they have compared their quality of life according to somebody who doesn't even know you exist. Let's be honest about that. They don't know you exist, but yet you feel upset, you feel less than, you feel inferior because those women aren't taking pictures with you. That guy who's taking a picture in front of that car that very well may not even be his, or if it is his, he just rented it, or if he is renting it is probably a friend of his, and it's all these types of things where you don't even know the context. You're just comparing yourself to like ghosts. You're comparing yourself to invisible people, and you yourself are an invisible person to those people. So it's like any way you slice it, it's like no, that's internal. That's a inadequacy. That's an insecurity. That's intrinsic. That's inside. That's inside. That's something that you have to work with here, and that's the ego. That's the pride, and meditation and mindfulness will assist in procuring better habits and better ways of thinking, and better ways of thinking, and controlling your mind, and controlling your that rampant brain activity that we have, in which our ego is telling us that we're not good, or we're less than, or we're a piece of shit, or the women who feel like, wow, I don't look like that, my body doesn't look that way, my hair doesn't look like that, my hair isn't that texture, my skin isn't that color, my body archetype isn't like hers. Maybe she's better than me. Of course not. Of course not. There's guys who are saying like, I don't fly a private jet, or I don't play for the Los Angeles Lakers, or I don't have, the Bentley in my backyard with the mansion and the pretty, wife that looks like the young Janet Jackson, young Nia Long, young Vivica A. Fox. That's not my life. Like, I must be shit. I must be fucking trash, bro. Like, I'm not, stepping out on the red carpet with a Angelina Jolie draped on my arm. Not the real Angelina Jolie, but just an archetype. Just that archetypal woman that looks like that. You feel what I'm saying? There's so many people who want to tell you that you're not killing the game, that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not of value because you don't have something to post on Insta, Twitter, Snap, Face, any of these things, like Tinder, for fuck's sake, yo. I was a person that didn't really understand the Tinder wave at first, but whenever somebody told me, so my homie told me this whilst I was in university, so this must have been like early on Tinder. Like, this is before Tinder was like a thing. Because he's in the tech field. My roommate in college is a physics major, and he was into the computer programming, and he was already into the startup scene back in the day. and he knew of the Tinder app. He was the first person that told me about the Bumble app. He's just into that. He's living in San Francisco now, and he's killing the game, engaged to a beautiful woman, doing his thing. Shout out to my boy. But I remember when he was telling me about Tinder, and it was sounding too good to be true. It was sounding too good to be true, because I'm like, wait, you take pictures of yourself, post them on a application, let's say a site, and there are just women who you are seeing on the site, and you're just scrolling and flipping, and if you get a match, meaning, hey, I find you attractive, hey, you find me attractive, then you are like hooking up and smashing. Because in the sense of real life, dating, or, and I won't even say dating, in the sexual politics, that's my specialty. Whenever you study sexual politics, what is politics? Anytime you interact with another human being, well, what's sexual politics? When people of the opposite sex are interacting, right? So it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying they are having sex. I'm saying that you have a male, you have a female, you have a man, you have a woman, you have a boy, you have a girl. There are unspoken truths. There are spoken truths, but there are more so unspoken truths, nonverbal cues, nonverbal communication, nonverbal qualities, traits, and principles that are at play no matter whether you are in the southern of South Africa, the northern of Helsinki, Finland, the furthest far out of Russia and Siberia somewhere, or you're over there in Los Angeles, California, you're somewhere in, Washington, D.C. It doesn't matter where you are. When men and women are in the same room, when men and women come across each other, there are sexual politics at play, and it's because of the sexual polarity. The divine masculine, the divine feminine, the feminine tone, the feminine energy, the feminine archetype, the feminine body, the feminine biology. Then it's the masculine archetype, the masculine energy, the masculine ideologies, the masculine biology, the masculine anatomy, the masculine archetypes. Once you have them together, once you have them compressed, once you have them in sync, and they're not necessarily, we're like synchronized swimming, but like once you have them in alignment, oh my gosh, like you can sit down and take notes about what's going to happen, because it's not like, they're going to jump on top of each other. It's going to be totally different if it's a room full of girls, and it's totally different if it's a room full of guys, room full of boys. When you put the boys and girls together, sexual polarity, sexual politics at play. It doesn't matter if they're in the 7th grade. It doesn't matter if they're 7 years old. It doesn't matter if they're 70. The sexual politics are always at play. So whenever a guy finds a woman attractive, his initial or the biggest hurdle, or I would say the biggest hurdle for that individual is not, well, it's a lot of things. Maybe it is speaking to her. Maybe it is coming out of his comfort zone and expressing to her how he feels about her. Maybe it is the insecurities that she won't feel the same. Boom, 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 ding, ding, ding. It is the fear. It is the inadequacy. It is the skepticism. It is the reluctance, or the reluctancy, or the apprehension for that guy in his head to say, wow, she's beautiful, she's stunning, she's marvelous, she's magnificent, she is the archetypal woman that I've manifested in my life, because I've wrote this down, and she's everything that I want. But if I were to talk to her, maybe she does not feel the same way about me. Not to say that I should be the archetypal male, but maybe she doesn't even find me handsome. Maybe she doesn't think I'm cute. Maybe she doesn't think I'm attractive. Maybe she doesn't think maybe she doesn't think anything about me. Maybe, like most women, she's gonna walk by me and not even notice me, not even make eye contact with me, because I'm an invisible person. So there are a lot of guys who the biggest issue with dating or with just interfacing with women is the fact that I don't get the confirmation that I'm cute. I don't get the confirmation that you would find me attractive. It is not confirmed to me. I don't have that, and women won't do that. That's not women's job to do that. If you want a young 20-something, if you want the young 30-something, you want the young 40-something, you want the young teenage heartthrob girl to walk up to you and say, hey guy, you're hot, you're handsome, you're my type. It is not happening. Now, maybe when women are past 50 and they've been married before, and now they're divorced, and their kids are out of school, and their kids are out of college, and the kids have their own life, and now like they feel like, you know, their archetype isn't necessarily represented in the media, or they feel like the male patriarchal quote unquote archetype isn't worried about them. Now those women are probably going to be more inclined to, you know, take one for the fucking team. And when I say the team, they're going to be like, well, fuck it, like scare money doesn't make money. So those women might go up to a younger guy, or a guy in which they don't know, in a different environment, because they're not, you know, worried about how people perceive them. Because when you're over 50, it's like, oh, girl, do your thing. You can be on the talk. You can be on these daytime TV shows. You can be sipping your mimosas daytime, and you can be talking about sex all you want to, and they're going to promote it, because it's like, we're not the ones that, you know what I'm saying? You're not the ones that people are trying to, I guess, control. Like the patriarchal hierarchical structure isn't trying to control the 50-plus-year-old woman. They're trying to suppress the sexuality of their daughters. Honestly, they're trying to suppress the sexuality of their granddaughters. They're trying to suppress the sexuality of the girls that they want to have sex with. Honestly, so this is how that goes. But once you have something like a Tinder, or these social applications that says like, wait, guys don't have to put themselves out anymore. Like, guys don't have to stick their necks out anymore. Guys don't have, because that's the only way women were going to give you the play. Well, for the most part, most women. That was how it was going to work. Brother, you want this? Brother, you want to date me? Brother, you want a piece of this? You're going to have to come and make the move. That is how girls work from the beginning of time to the end of time. And it's not honestly going to change. I mean, there are some women who say, oh, I'm aggressive. Oh, I'm a feminist. Oh, I'm liberal. Oh, I'm on the progressive side. 10 times out of motherfucking 10. 10 times out of motherfucking 10. If you really want, if she's hot, if you really want something, if she's fit, if she's the archetypal woman, you as the guy have to be the guy. Now, what she will do is probably make the hint so fucking dead ass obvious, like, brother, like, I mean, I could have sat at any chair in this restaurant, but I sat next to you. I could have went to any bar stool in this bar, but I sat directly next to you. I could have walked to the bathroom and went this way, but I walked past you and bumped into you and stood there with my back turned, like, for fuck's sake, bro, like, talk to me. For fuck's sake, it's there for you. I mean, all girls did, other than like give it to you, was like stand in front of you with their watch and say like, what are you waiting on, brother? What time, brother? Like, what time, brother? Like, make the move, brother. It's here for you. It's here for you. Like, girls aren't gonna be that open, but like, there's a lot of women who's like, yes, I was that direct with my whoever they're with now, because guys don't want to stick their necks out. Maybe a certain percentage of guys are confident. Or I wouldn't even use the word confident. Maybe these guys are smart enough to know it's like, it's a numbers game, guys. You know, you're going to have to talk to these girls. Most women aren't going to express to you, when I mean most, I mean 99.9%. They're not going to express to you that you're handsome when you meet them. They're not going to tell you, yo, you're my type when you meet them. They're not going to tell you, brother, like, I know I gave this guy, you know, 4 or 5 months, you know, to date me and court me before we did anything. Or, you know, this last boyfriend, he had to do the XYZ to court me. But like, no girl's gonna say, you know what, for you, bro, like, all you gotta do is say, what's up? For you, bro, all you gotta do is just come up to me and just look at me in my eyes and tell me I'm pretty. Like, for you, bro, like, honestly, just like, stop talking, stand in front of me, look me into my eyes, take me by the hand, and it's, for fuck's sake, Gabe. I mean, like, there are some women like, yo, what's the movie, Jerry Maguire? Like, yo, you had me at hello. You had me at fucking hello, bro. Like, there's not gonna be many women that will tell you that. Homegirl from the, you know, Renee Zellweger will tell you that in 1997, and that can be the Oscar-winning movie, but at the end of the day, no woman is coming up to you, bro, you had me at hello. It's time. Let's go. But that's what the interruption of the social did. That's what Twitter or Tinder or the Bumble or the fucking whatever was supposed to interrupt that. So when I was hearing from my homeboy, like, wait, guys are chilling, they don't have to put themselves out. And when I heard about the Bumble, like, man, you don't even have to hit the girl up now. You can just put your picture up there and the girls have to contact you. This is a gold mine. This is a motherfucking gold mine. Or is it? My color gun.